Hey everybody, it's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. So, first and foremost, happy full moon in Aquarius as of today, August 1st. It's the first of actually two supermoons that are going to be occurring in this month alone. So, you might want to dig into what that might mean for you or what that indicates for your life, but just that statement alone is profound. That this is a big moon with a big energy. The last time that we had a moon such as this, well, we had a cosmic experience such as this, where there were two full moons and super moons in 1 month, was in 2018, 5 years ago. And we won't have another one until 2037, 14 years from now. So it's safe to say that whatever this energy brings by way of recollection, renew, reset, and release is going to be profound for pretty much the next decade of your life. Like you're setting something up, something big for yourself at this particular time that's going to extend beyond now. So you want to be very clear, as in full energies, to really release anything that comes up that is not in alignment with what is most prosperous and productive to your energetic force. Now, just to give a little bit of color, I won't go too deep, but I just feel like it's important because the energy is so big. It's in, this moon is in Aquarius, as I said, and that's the 11th house, which is of community and good fortune, and ultimately has to do with like groups, hopes, and dreams, right? Is ruled by the planet Uranus, which is a planet of innovation, and also I would like to note one of surprises. It can be a very unpredictable planetary energy. Aquarius is the visionary, particularly of the future. They can be different. And if you know some Aquarians in your life, they can be quite different. They have a visionary perspective. The cosmic proclamation for Aquarius is "I know," as a matter of fact. So one thing that we're being encouraged to do as we are channeling this Aquarian energy and riding this cosmic wave with this full moon is to acclaim or proclaim or reclaim your autonomy. Again, expect the unexpected of yourself and even of others. So, brace yourself for the same expression of how do you say that word? Eccentricity? Eccentric? I think that's a word. Eccentricity. Give grace for that within yourself, as it may kind of like burst out of you in ways that you weren't really prepared to experience of yourself, and certainly for that of others. During full moons, I typically, stay pretty secluded and, to myself, and solitude and things like that, or I'm just really careful about how I connect my energy. And given the high vibration of this moon, I would suggest that you just be very selective about the places that you go and where you insert yourself, and vice versa. Now, today I actually did not follow that. I was out and about, but I made sure to get out really early so that I could try to come back in and ground myself before, the height of the moon really set in. But it was really a beautiful day. It was actually quite a peaceful day, I would say, out and about. For the most part, I was pleasantly surprised, to be honest. But embrace your uniqueness. Also a part of this energy. With all full moons and full moon energies, but particularly this one, we want to take inventory of how we might be called to break the mold that we've been captivated by, whether it be self-imposed or superimposed, more or less. We want to break that mold that we've either been captivated by or even confined by, to ultimately liberate our creative consciousness, not just for our own sovereignty, but consequently for the advancement of society or even the greater collective community as a whole. So the card that more or less depicts Aquarian energy is the star card, go figure, right? And it's exactly that. The vibration of the star is exactly what we're being called to just really be healed from the limitations, again, that we've imposed upon ourselves or that have been superimposed or inadvertently projected toward us. We want to, and it's also a very cerebral energy with respect to it being an air sign. So a lot of those limitations might just be your very own thoughts about yourself and about your surroundings. If there's anything that's keeping you confined to some ideal of what you're capable of and what you're worthy of and what you are destined to be, do, and have, those are the things in this moon energy, this super full moon energy, that we want to look to release, to dispel, to dismiss, to dispense of, however we can disconnect from that limitation is what we want to ultimately do, so that we can aspire to the highest liberation of our star power. Okay, so coincidentally, the sun is actually the energy that was here when I last shuffled, which was late last night that I shuffled the cards. But I felt, it wasn't necessary to reshuffle again. So the sun is also a star, right? I believe so. I hope I'm not ignorant to that with that statement. But if in fact it is, and I believe it is, it's the biggest star that there is. So that's exactly, I didn't actually even connect to that until just now in this moment. But, aside, it's obviously Leo energy, and we're also in Leo season, which is a great correlation as well. But if you're going to go big, this is absolutely the way to do it, and the biggest energetic force you can possibly project, okay? You have permission to do that. All right, and the star, like Aquarius, is unique in its essence. There's nothing else that matches it. There's no power that aligns with it, and it's invaluable to the inhabitants of this realm, if nothing else. And so are you. All right, let's see what we got here. Spirit, thank you for that energy force. Thank you for this full moon that we are all feeling safe and sound and energized in and by. Just give us a quick message of just how we get to be in this moment of time with ourselves, most importantly. Oh, okay. All right, we got the Two of Wands, planning, taking some definitive, making some definitive choices of action, particularly maybe even a higher road of activity for some gift. This is a big gift that's coming down from the divine on account of the ways that you have taken very careful actions in the earth. He's holding the globe. This wand is elevated. He left some things in the past. Perhaps this is exactly the energy that I'm speaking of. Also with the partnership card here with the Two of Cups, a lot of what's also being cleared out by way of still Venus being in retrograde in Leo, and still the full moon energy almost magnifying that force in a sense, with us being reflective and in the space of rest and release. We're looking to leave some things behind, perhaps even some activities behind, some ways that maybe you took action or projected your power that worked for you in some other realm of reality that just are not in alignment now, or they get an upgrade. That's what I see. There's an upgrade in energy. Bam. Just like that. There's an upgrade in energy that is being gifted to you from the divine, from a very spiritual, ethereal source, on account of really bringing some type of readying, because this is a 2 and a 2, is readying individuals for partnerships that are creative. So this full moon, which is almost kind of resembles in a sense, right, is the energy that's going to allow us to really release some baggage and to, shift some perspectives and some intentions for our highest good individually. And as I said before, it subsequently affects community and partnerships and everything that you connect to. So the moments that we get to actually relax, relate, and release, a full moon vibes, are not just for our own good, although of course we are our first points of service, ourselves, but it's for the idea that the collective will be elevated as well, because we all have an effect on the creative consciousness above all, literally above all. And this partnership here seems to be high vibrational to me, but as I always like to say with the Two of Cups, you really have to be thoughtful and mindful of your connectivity. This is spiritual energy, not just in the time that this intensified celestial time as such a super full moon can be, but also in what you're investing in and committing to at times like this. I would like to say not just from a past perspective, not just sifting through what is or is not working by way of what's present, or what's past and what's present, but also being mindful of taking on any new vibrations, particularly in this time, without it being well thought out, well planned. I would say, like, really contemplated, like no rash decisions in your partnerships and your commitments at this time, because it really should be more or less a time of relaxation and reflection. Not to say you can't do anything, but when you're considering taking on new energy in a vibration such as this, you may actually be overloading yourself with more to juggle than what you may be able to really manage well, and in order to make to really make what's the right word, to make not wise decisions is not what I'm looking for, but to really make choices and decisions for yourself that are going to be in the most upright energetic force. That's not really what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it. Like, you may not want to be making no new friends or new relationships or new partnerships right now in particular, while you're still clearing and sifting some things out from what already is, is all I'm ultimately trying to say. Because you're readying yourself for some big gift that's coming in, that's coming into manifestation. This is something from a celestial essence, but it's about to be very material, so you're already going to have something that you're already preparing to receive in a big way. You don't want to take on too much and then that kind of overload that sifting and that releasing process, like putting like dirty oil into like, this is like a tune-up time, with full moons, and you don't want to be putting, there's something with cars where you don't want to just keep putting dirty oil in the car, you know what I mean? Like, eventually, even though the oil the oil's going to keep the car running, the quality of that productivity might not be at its highest performance, is what I'm trying to say. So, if you're in a tune-up space of time and doing some releasing, you might want to let the universe, the spirit, your guidance, however you submit and surrender to it, really prepare you for this upgrade and for this tune-up before you just add more fuel to the fire, so to speak. I hope that makes sense. All right, so as if I know a hell of a lot about cars, right? So we got the Page of Wands, and this is like kind of what I was saying. That's crazy, because there are new opportunities, maybe even invitations that are presenting themselves, but this may not be the time to actually be a yes to anything new. I'm not saying that it absolutely isn't. You have to trust your own spirit with that. But I don't really love that the Seven of Cups, which is more about illusions and delusions, is coming out with a new opportunity. It doesn't feel great to me, especially given all that I just said and the spirit of the time that we're in. You're coming to a fresh understanding about yourself. As I said, there's something that's coming into you that you're receiving that you may see yourself in a new way that you've never, and experience yourself in a way that you've never experienced yourself before. You need some time to kind of be with that experience and that revelation, in a sense, to really kind of like get your bearings straight, I would say, so to speak. Really coming into some certainty and some settlement with this newfound energy that you're being introduced to. Now, the good thing is it's something that you've already more or less planned and prepared for. With this Two of Wands here is what I'm seeing. It's just that when it actually comes, it may be more than what you even bargained for. So this could be a new position. It could be, I really sense it as it being more spiritual. I see it as some energy, some gift, some ability, even maybe a talent, maybe a gift. We're talking about Aquarian energy. Aquarius is like futuristic, out of this world. So it might not be as conventional of an upgrade or an experience as I would like to make it. It may not even be as practical, or maybe it might be something very supersonic of a practical experience, like particularly within a job or a partnership, maybe partnerships being upgraded, maybe a proposal of sorts. And that's definitely, depending on what the relationship, that's something that you definitely would be in a almost at a ground zero type of position with, or a marriage in itself, like how your relationship is coming together. It's like there's something that you are experiencing that's so fresh and so new and so vibrant in its nature, that even with all the preparation that you may have made, which clearly in the Two of Wands you have, and even just being a yes to the possibilities of something new. That's what I hear, because before the universe really, hands down these opportunities and these gifts and upgrades, you usually have to be in accordance with it energetically first. And it seems like you have been, so here it comes. And now it's like, whoa, what is this? And the Page of Wands, it's like, wow, I wasn't expecting that big old pentacle. I wasn't expecting all this energy. I wasn't expecting this new position. I wasn't expecting, all this. It's overwhelming. It can feel overwhelming, but in a good way, because the Page of Wands is definitely a good news type of card, especially in this force. But then when I'm seeing the Seven of Cups here, it's like you don't want to, as I was saying, like, I think it's really important to say that it's okay to really take a rest now and be in a restful state and be in a ready position to receive, because it's coming one way or another. And if you're trying to, still sift through the fog of what you're really not, I think in your spirit, something is coming, but there's this impulse within us as humans to want to know exactly what it is, and to almost like do too much to acquire, work harder than smarter. We've been conditioned that way. And there's like a fog here, it almost seems like it's in the clouds, like a celestial fog. And it might be, I'm hearing like even a testing experience coming your way, in a sense, not in a way to make you anxious or anything like that, but if you're in the position where you're poised to try to do too much, or, how can I say this? if you if you are not willing to relent to the vibration of the moon as it is working through you celestially, energetically, it may be different for everyone, but generally, as I've said, in this energy, we are looking to release things. We're looking to really take inventory over what is not serving. It's all in preparation for the receiving. If you're taking on too much, allowing yourself to be glamored by some illusions that all of these cups are for you, and you even get distracted. That's what I hear also. Yeah, here's the Hierophant, exactly. Get distracted by society telling you what you should be doing or how you should be feeling, trying to disrupt this process of elevation or expansion that's happening naturally, organically, universally for most, that is very celebratory. But for you to get glamored in some way by some societal disturbance, it could even be intimate, like your family, your friends, tempting you with some worldly or carnal distraction, or even whatever emotional revelation that may come up on account of this moon, kind of, because we're also in that Leo vibe too, where things are being exposed and uncovered. It's a very revealing time that we're in. So you could be distracted by these revelations, by new information, new intel, looking at all this information in front of you at once and not really knowing which cup to drink of, should you have any of them at all, who to party with, who to dismiss, who to partner with, literally with the Hierophant card, which is like matrimony or marriage, or what to submit to, which is also about societal structures of power. You could get lost in the shuffle because the adverse energy would want to disrupt this evolution of elevation by causing illusions and delusions within self about what this all means. So as I was saying, okay, bringing it back to Aquarius, as we are connecting to breaking those molds and breaking those confinements and those chains that we've ultimately made some agreement with, even the ones that have been superimposed, there's been some agreement in the spirit that has compelled us to act and react in life with the wand energy. As we're being called to really break those chains and those molds, here comes family trying to pull you back in to your old, your old frequencies, or friends trying to pull you back into old habits and things that that just aren't in alignment, or projecting their expectations of identity onto you as you're in a space of release and coming into clarity. And then here comes that old boyfriend or whomever. Like, I'm just trying to throw out different scenarios of just people, which is often the case, is people that can come and impose different ideals that are conflicting with who you are elevating yourself to be, or who universally you're being elevated to be by way of your intention to be so. And it could be places, you're at the job and you're thrown off focus. God forbid, you have to be in the job and full moon energies such as this. I used to hate it when I would have to be at work and surrounded by so many different vibrations and people. You got to take extra care of yourself, not to be triggered, not to be, not to be dragged into some vibration of energy on account of someone else's experience that is an obstruction to where you are and where you feel you need to be energetically. So it can be places, it can be things, as I said, it can be your own habits, it can be your own ideas about yourself. You're feeling a spiritual calling to be, do, and have X, Y, and Z, but you don't really have, your experiences are telling you that that's not a safe choice, or it's not secure, it's not stable, it won't sustain your lifestyle, or you're going to get laughed at, you're going to be judged, you're going to be misunderstood, all these things that we submit and surrender to, that are from um, an internal source, an ordinance, so it's not just to put the blame on people and places and things, because sometimes we are the people that are our own enemies. We put ourselves in this illusionary state of mind, an emotional imbalance, so to speak. So in the spirit of this time, I think it's just really important to embrace however you're feeling guided energetically. This is energy, and it's the highest vibration of energy in this deck. You're being celebrated in the highest form, and even if I take the Hierophant as like the God card, the angels and ancestors, way showers, guides in your corner are in celebration already of you breaking these illusions and you coming into a stability about your identity and power, and the fact that you were already a yes to the journey, and the fact that this, the spirit of universal force, however you submit to it, is dying to release this energy, this gift to you. We are the playmakers in the earth. We're the active agents. So the more open and we're willing to receive vibrations from these higher perspectives, the happier the angelic force is, because it works through us, as we are the yes to that force to be conduits of, So if you're a yes, be the yes 100%. Know that if nobody else is cheering for you, if nobody else is protecting you, or you feel led and soundly guided and understood by, know that from a celestial standpoint, you are supremely celebrated, because you're a yes to the journey. The spirit can do a whole hell of a lot with a yes than with a no, and this energy is like no vibration. You don't want to be in illusions about the path that you're embarking on. And in the ways that you may be unsure, I would say just take heart to continue to just be intentional about receiving the highest vibration of knowledge and energetic revitalization and recharge, you know what I mean? Like I was saying, that tune-up energy, because that's what's happening. And then we got the Four of Cups, which is someone that, on account, this isn't good. This is on account of being in illusions. You may miss the opportunity to really receive that full cup of love and spiritual fulfillment. That's the downside of all that I was just saying, being a no. Ultimately, thank you, Spirit. Pardon me, that's the no that I was talking about. There's him with his arms folded and his legs crossed and saying no to the divine, like literally handing you nourishment, handing you a respite for your soul. You may have incurred quite a lot. There may even be, it's like the divine is saying, don't worry about all that. Worry about what I'm giving you. This is someone being stuck in the vibration of this Seven of Cups, even in the past energy, particularly, or in what is not present, whether it's past or just whether it's some desirable future. The present vibration of force is that the divine is looking to nourish you in some magnificent way. And then we got the Queen of Cups here, who is willing to receive that nourishment. She's willing to be one with it, that refreshing, that reinforcement of love, in the most obscure circumstances. As I've said, when we're in full moon energy, it's always important to really guard your loins, not literally, but your spiritual loins, maybe literally too, I don't know, but your spiritual loins in a sense, because it's if the vibrations of others don't put you at odds. Just the revelation within self can sometimes cause a disruption or disturbance to your regularly scheduled program. And with Uranus, the ruling planet of Aquarius, in the mix, and the intensity of this moon as it is, that's absolutely a possibility. So it's important to just stay grounded in to really receive your emotional experiences in love with love. It's like, this is exactly the synergy. It's like with the divine already knows that what's being revealed to you may be, may be a lot, one way or another, energetically, emotionally, physically. Just experiencing a new identity of yourself may be something that's hard to receive or to accept wholeheartedly. So it's giving you ways to be rejuvenated and revived through, what could be, a depleting process at this time, or just a little bit exhausting, I would say, which is why in full moons we're called to rest a bit more than usual in the first place. And if you're refusing that respite and that time out, you're refusing to be nourished with the understanding of the divine. The Queen of Cups is the most loving queen. The divine is looking to give you unconditional love for all that you may be experiencing from the outside in and from the inside out. This is not the vibe. It's not the vibe to be resistant to that flow and the way that it's being offered to you. There really needs to be some acceptance with that exchange from an ethereal standpoint. How would that look practically? Spirit, like, how does that look? Because I feel like it feels really broad. Well, I guess like the simplest thing really would be where everything in your life is kind of telling you to take a chill pill. And a lot of times that's how the cues come, where you're meeting some resistance with some way that you're wanting to surge ahead, whether it be in a relationship, whether it be in a business, a job, or, maybe you need to take a day off. Maybe you need to take a few hours away from your normal day-to-day routine, whether it be home with the kids or family responsibilities or something like that. You need to take a moment to yourself to collect yourself, or maybe you just need to do something, or experience something that brings you joy and peace and love, and you're looking at it as if it's actually taken away. Like I was saying earlier, like we are conditioning to always be doing something, to be busy at work for some desirable outcome. And perhaps it's much more productive to be at rest, or to do something that's more fun and more leisure, more casual, and more even solitary than you typically would do, on account of the energetic vibrations that are being experienced, even if they're not experienced yet, because the full moon is just today, but it can stay pretty vibrant for the next 3 days, more or less. And given this energy, maybe for a week, I don't know, and maybe even for the rest of the month, because then we're going to turn around and have another one at the very end of August. So it could be just in general, maybe even having some more summer fun than you typically would, but you're thoughtful already about getting the kids ready for school and planning to, some people are trying to even manifest some things, which generally on a full moon, it's not really the most ideal time to be planting seeds, and starting anything new. But you may be incited to feel some surge of energy based on what cues you may be experiencing around you, that, oh, this is my time. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to work on this project. I got to start this business, or going hard at the job when you really need to take a vacation. Those are the ways that sometimes we can be resistant to the flow of that Sabbath spirit that we're being called to. Sabbath meaning rest, not necessarily religious observance, but it says in the Bible that that God said I created the Sabbath for you. It wasn't for me. And people now break their necks, not to say there's anything wrong with this, so before anybody gets offended, but people break their necks thinking they're doing God a service by going to church, getting up early, being in church all day, or whatever you do on those religious observance days, when in actuality the Sabbath was supposed to be a day of rest from our regularly scheduled program, so that we can be rejuvenated and be revived to be fully activated throughout the the more prominent time of our lives, which is the other 6 days of the week according to our calendar. So like I said, it's no disrespect. However you choose to observe and worship and practice is fully respected by me. But from my experience as a born and bred Baptist girl, I always, now especially, I find the irony in all of it is that the Sabbath is for rest, and that's the last thing that devout religious observers usually do. That's actually the very opposite of what is done most of the time. Worship is an everyday experience. Worship should be throughout your entire, every day of the week. There should be your life should be an act of worship. That's why we're being called, especially in this time, to be activated in the essence of our spiritual vibration, so that your work is devotion to the divine. There is no separation between church and state, in a sense. If you're doing the thing that you are divinely called to do every day, the reward and return and even stability and security comes behind that, and then that you can take that day of rest with with no remorse whatsoever, because every day you are working in the way of the Spirit, or for the advancement of the kingdom, however it is you're contributing to creating it. So anyway, I'm going on a tangent, but I'm going to get off that, and I'm going to pull some more cards. All right, let's see. A few more and then we out of here, because I already feel the spirit of long, lengthy minutes on my back. And I did not end, especially with me talking about the moon and stuff. This message about to be over an hour. And I hate that, because I don't know. Maybe people do like longer messages, but I came from Instagram where I was given like 15-minute messages, which was good, but now I don't feel guided in that space. So I also have more time, and when I have more time, I say more things. All right, let's see what else we got. Oh, and that tried to come out too. That's interesting. So we got the Temperance card, which is about balance. Bam, ultimately. And you know what? I think I'm going to kind of wrap it up here, to be honest. But the Temperance card is about universal balance. It's about, it's actually speaking to me by way of this energetic force that's coming in, as exactly what I was saying, how it's something powerful that's coming to a vessel near you, maybe perhaps even your own, you know what I mean? And the spirit is already ahead of the game, balancing that force in the earth and from an ethereal essence for you. It's happening for you. The only thing that you really have to do is receive it. The universal consciousness is fully aware of the inhabitants thereof. That source is aware of the force of this what's the right word? I see it, but it's hard to explain. Like it's like I'm like, it's almost like the essence of a solar flare, like how I was talking about the solar flare the other day. It's like something that's coming through that is not really a tangible expression of evolution by the way in which we're used to seeing it. You know, like you may not experience it on the outside, at least most immediately, you may not, but it's something happening very internally. Like you might feel different about yourself, you might feel different about life. Things that once didn't matter before may matter now, and vice versa. You know, you might have a different reverence for your energetic force, and maybe even more selective of how that energetic force gets to be exposed or experienced. Those are kind of the cues of great change that is occurring on a spiritual level. It's not always something that most times is not something that really can be seen or is tangible, but it's more felt. That Queen of Cups energy, you know, I always call the Queen of Cups like the Holy Grail in a sense, because she's looking into the reflection in a sense of that holy cup. Is very ornament, and it's almost mystical in itself, you know, the cup that she's looking into and that she's holding. But when we think about water, it's a reflective element. And the Aquarius, oh no, I was about to say something, but that's not really. Aquarius is celestial, you know, it's air, but it's like outer space air, you know. So it's like you're experiencing yourself almost weightless to the confines of the society that you have been conditioned to, if that's making sense. And that disparity, you know, that dimensional disparity can be something, you know, quite, yeah, it can be different. As I said, like Aquarius, it can feel different. To imagine being resistant to the weight of gravity, you know, well, in a sense, you're going to feel that way. Like some of the things that maybe once bothered you about society or impressed a certain ideal or identity upon you, from an intimate perspective and from a general and universal perspective, just may not hit the same, you know, and then you may feel almost alien to your own life, you know, futuristic in a sense, like you're experiencing something that's beyond what either you ever have and or beyond what many around you may even be privy to or willing to connect to, you know. So it's like all of that being indifferent, you know, or being in great difference in a sense actually to society and to the life that you have led up until now, like literally feeling like an alien. I know there's been talk about, you know, some revelation of aliens and things like that, but don't be fooled by the propaganda. That's part of that distraction. Thank you, Spirit, for saying that, you know, because regardless of what is or is not, whenever it's being projected to you from a public place, you know, in space, especially in this country, you got to always take it with a grain of salt and be thoughtful about what's really being revealed. What cup of Kool-Aid are they trying to sell you or poison you with by way of distracting you from the true picture at hand, which is that you are the alien. You know, you are being elevated and exalted in some spiritual essence that is just foreign to anything that you have been or experienced before, or any identity that you have known of yourself before. It's a new power. It's a new presence in the earth that you are being privy to. If you are so privileged, and clearly you are with the Temperance card, and then is that the Judgment? Yes, it is. Literally being called, Ace of Wands. Look at this. Amazing. Literally being called to a new power. Don't get finessed by the distractions and by your own obsessions and possessions before this upgrade commenced to potentially block it. But this is literally you being called into the most divine power of creative consciousness that is possible, literally according to what you're willing to submit to, because all things are possible, right? There's no limitation, literally. And the judgment card is like solidifying that. And look, it's like this is like a dynasty of celestial force that I'm seeing right here, like a legacy of love that's being uplifted by way of your loins, all them L words. But literally you, and again, another L word, you are literally being, your DNA is being transformed, into something that transcends what has been conventional, what has been traditional by the standards that we have been projected, because perhaps it's always been available and possible, but the illusions that were so prominent that we couldn't really see, through the fog. We rejected our own nature, our own, like that celestial connection that I'm speaking of, the divine literally trying to purify you, trying to nourish you. We weren't willing to accept that. We wanted to be like everybody else, three of cups down here in society, for fear of, that loss of societal acceptance, or maybe familial acceptance, or maybe religious acceptance. Well, whatever level of acceptance and inclusion made us feel safe and secure. Now is the time where we're being called to really release, because there's a calling for you to answer to something greater than what the so-called norm of your life has always been. And the spirit already knows just how to balance your energetic flow if you allow it to be so. You have to be a yes to it though, because the upgrades are happening regardless. And if you're sitting in a no position, it may keep you in this stuck illusionary energy where you've been upgraded, but you can't even connect to the gift of the vibration that you're inhabiting. And so you either conform back into the ways of society, and society will be happy to take you back and whip you right back into shape, or you will literally burn out, like some people could lose their minds, on account of like really living, almost living on the edge in a sense, because you don't really belong where you were, but you're afraid to move forward into where you're being called to. That's like a purgatory energy in a sense, or Walking Dead or something like that. I don't know, which is this vibe here. But anyway, I'm gonna get off that soapbox. So the point is that temperance is definitely here to balance all things, to literally bring the energetic force to, so even when it might feel overwhelming, just know that there's a force beyond you that's working for you, for your good, to make sure that as long as you're staying in integrity and in intention with the flow of this universal shift, you're good, you're okay. Even as intense as it may feel, like you are going to be fine. Just ride the wave and don't let the wave drown you, in a sense, with that. Yeah, chill, just chill. This is exactly what I was talking about. You've clearly been selected in some way, shape, or form. And again, this card implies, that you have spiritual clout on account of your energetic investments. You've already proven yourself to be worthy of this expansion and this infusion. That's what I was trying to say earlier, like an infusion of energetic force and something otherworldly in a sense, but it may not be as fantastical as I'm saying it, but it's just out of the world and out of the box that you have been created to be confined to, or that you've confined yourself to. And this energy here is someone that lives almost in her own world, in a sense, with the Nine of Pentacles, but is justifiably so. It's celestially ordained, literally, with the Pentacle energies. It's spiritually sound. It's not delusion. It's not like you just live. I mean, you may live off grid or in the mountains somewhere, and are just completely disconnected from the way of society or the way of life that persists, is that you live within that existence, but as a sovereign spirit. It doesn't overpower you, it doesn't dictate, it doesn't possess you, it doesn't control you. You are self-sufficient, you're independent, you have already proven yourself to be an invaluable force to source, someone that is a yes, that has been a yes, that has taken a life's journey, a higher road of activation, and been willing to be a conduit of the spirit from the highest level, to let everything that he or she does be in contribution to some productivity of society, of humanity, of creation in general, in the most broad sense. This is that energy here. She's very well contained and sustained as her own, as her own sovereign spirit, because she's already proven herself to the divine, and the divine is just, as I was saying before, just anxious and pleased to prove itself to not only to her but through her, because at this stage, this position of presence, you can be a great inspiration to others. That, imagine seeing someone, running their own businesses and doing things that they love and working in a way that is balanced. They're not slaving to any particular field or formation, but they're completely secure and sound in all their investments, and their money is working for them. When you see someone like that in integrity and authentically, it inspires you. It gives you a certain drive. It's like, man, I want that. And you want your version of that. You don't want their version of that. You want to be in your own independence, in your own happiness, your own contentment, your own creative consciousness freely. That's the point of this gift of the divine, to make it so that you have the resources to be that example and that inspiration in real time, in real form, so that others that are resistant or rejected or conditioned to reject that reality can be inspired to know that it's a possibility for them too. That's how we're being used by the spirit, because we're sensational, because we are, we are carnal creatures. We, as much as we are called to walk by faith and not by sight, only a faithful few are actually courageous enough to do so, and the rest have to be inspired. The rest actually need to see the evidence before they can take that walk for themselves. And that's okay, because that's what we're here for. But when you're willing to be that faithful, amongst that faithful few, you're highly exalted, and the universe can really pour into you in a way that really can sustain that objective and promote that platform, so to speak, so that others can see it. It's not just sheerly for the purposes of exaltation of this individual or you or me or anyone else. Is to create lights within us that are a beacon for others to be blessed by their own independence, and the more that, literally like a supernova, in a sense, back to that Aquarian energy that just combusts and then creates other stars, so to speak. And what does this look like but a combusting of stars? And that 10 of Pentacles is the same. It creates legacy, dynasty, not just in your family, but then those that see the existence of that creativity, they're inspired, and then they create that, and then they teach their children to be that, and to expect that, and that possibility exists in their children and their children, and so on and so forth. And there, before you know it, that's the shifting of the DNA that occurs in creation, because there is a balancing and hopefully an imbalance altogether, as it's more imbalanced on the heavier end, that there's a more of an imbalance of more people that are willing to be sovereign in their soul and spirit in an earthly experience than there are those that are willing to conform for the sake of convention. You feel me? So be a yes to that journey, because the universe will always get behind that, and you'll find yourself so, so heavily blessed that you won't even know where to put all the blessings. You won't even know which gift or talent to tap into next, because it'll be so much at your fingertips. Like, these are the good problems that I talk about having: so many business ideas, so many visions, so many partnerships, so many properties, so many products on the market, so many investments that are thriving, such a huge family, maybe even extended family. Like, the universe can bless the yes to the journey in a very expounded way, so that others can ultimately be inspired by that experience. And then we change the world together, right? Yeah, exactly. All right, so anyway, have a wonderful full moon. Take your spiritual bath, or take a nice salt steam shower. Definitely do all the spiritual maintenance and, pardon me, what do they call it? Spiritual hygiene things that make sense. Then most importantly, just keep your vibration high. Do something that you love, or just rest altogether. Don't be afraid to take a nap. Go to sleep a little earlier, sleep in a little later, take a day off, read a book, listen to some music, get a babysitter for the kids. Do something that brings you some peace and some joy at this time, and just open your heart to receive all that the universe is just literally dying and living to pour into you. All right, until next time, peace.